Hey y'all, welcome to the Q Spot Podcast with your host, Quabila Jones, bringing you real and relevant conversations. Be prepared to laugh, cry, and take notes as we dive into each discussion. Stay tuned. The topic is A Cut Above the Rest with special guest Amari James. All right. Hey, y'all. This is Quabila, host of the Q Spot podcast, with my special guest, Mr. Amari James. How are you, sir?
Hello, doing great. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. I am so excited, and I'm so happy that we have to give a shout out to Mr. Charleston Gurley, who helped us set this up. And I am so excited to hear your story. I've been peeping you out on Instagram, and you are fabulous with clippers. Let me tell you, that's a ministry within itself. Not everybody can do what you do. I know how to turn them on. I can give you a buzz cut, but that's about it. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into the interview. And so, thank you so much for giving me your time today. But before we get started, and I want you to please give me 3 words you would use to describe yourself, and we'll revisit those words throughout the interview.
3 words to describe myself. I would say the first word is caring.
Okay.
The second word, this might be a little cliche, but hardworking.
Okay.
And the third word is, I would have to say perseverance.
Okay.
Just, it's a hard word to just describe myself, but it's a lot.
Okay. And I'm sure as we go through the interview and you start telling your story, people will hear those words reflected in, your statements. And so we will revisit those words by the end of the interview. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I do want to let everyone know I don't have a formal introduction. However, you were a student at Arkansas State University. You were on the track and field team. You started as a walk-on and then eventually earned a full scholarship. In the midst of all of that, which was enough, you started trying to find a way to make some money because you're a college student, you got to eat. And so you started cutting hair. And I don't want to tell all of your story because I want you to tell it. And then you decide, okay, I'm going to make a job. I'm going to make a career out of this.
Right.
I'm good at it. You like it. So let's just go ahead and do this full time. And let me tell y'all, he's only 22, y'all. Look, I'm over 40 and I feel like I've been slacking on you. But that's neither here nor there. So let's just dive right into it. All right, so let's first start out. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to high school?
I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas. I went to Little Rock Parkview.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to go to Arkansas State University?
Really, it's a deep story with that.
Okay.
I was playing football and running track at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And I had a scholarship in football to go to Henderson State University.
Okay.
And as like the time constraints in between that, I had like National Signing Day is like in February. That's right before my senior track season. And
Okay.
I was like, I just want to sign on that National Signing Day. So let me sign this football scholarship. Not thinking that like, okay, if I sign these papers, like I got to go to this school and it's going to be a lot to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, it got to the point to where I was just like, I don't know if I want to go play on the Division II level,
Okay.
not, and still have to pay for school. And, I'm promised a starting position in football, but it's like, do they really care about me? Like, because at the time they signed like 50 something athletes to the school. And this is like, you sign 50 freshmen and you already have almost 90 people on your team. Like, there's no way we'll play. So after thinking about that, and, I took my track career, which I've been running track since I was 5 years old. So at this time, I was like, I don't know what track is gonna hold. And like my first meet was just like, it was crazy because it's like I PR real big, and like of course I got first place and I just made a big name. Like oh, like this is the guy that signed to Henderson State for football, and he's out here really doing it big at on the track. So, of course, my name gets out, and then I get like track looks.
Okay.
And like at the time, like schools didn't really know that I signed to another school,
Okay.
so I was getting like looked at, but I couldn't get looked at in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I met Arkansas State, and Arkansas State was just like, like you're talented, like you should think about pursuing a track career. We're not saying to not decommit from your school and do that, but you should consider this because I see a future in you in track. And after talking with my mom and talking with my coaches and talking with, you know, praying, I was just like, I have the opportunity to go Division 1 in track when in football I only go Division 2 and possibly not like it and not be happy. So just after the time I was just like, you know what, mom, I'm not going to Henderson. I'm not signing this football. Like I'm not going. I'm not going to report.
Okay.
And it was a lot of controversy. And like I got into a big situation with the NCAA and having to
Okay.
get out of the NLI, a National Letter of Intent scholarship, to
Mhm.
come to Arkansas State. And it turned out to, like, I'm not going to say names, but one of the coaches at Henderson State chose to release me the day after, like, colleges could really give you money for scholarships. So that's what started my walk on process here at Arkansas State. And like my coach was just like, I believe you're gonna be a hard worker. I believe you can work your way up. And from then on, I was just like, this is just a kickstart to what's gonna be greatness. And it's like now I'm on a full ride scholarship. I graduated. I'm walking this Saturday, and it's just a blessing. Like
Wow. That is
so,
amazing. It okay, so going through all of that, what advice would you give? And I know want to say that for the end, but we're going to insert a little advice right here. What advice would you give to someone, junior, senior, that's entertaining scouts, that's trying to make a decision about what school to go to? What advice would you give them?
some advice that I would give to somebody that was younger, like in junior, senior, in high school, I would say when you go to these schools and you're going on these visits, don't just listen to what they tell you. Look for yourself. Like look for your own eyes. Like that's what I did when I went to my football school. I looked for my own eyes and I was just like, wait a minute, like this is not what we talked about on the phone. This is not what we emailed about. This is not what we tweeted about. Like
Okay.
this is like this is a facade. And recruiting, it's a big facade that everyone puts on. Like, come to my school, we're the best school here. Like
Mhm.
we do this, we have these organizations on campus, we have all of these majors, but I would say do your research before you just pursue a school and sign a scholarship, because once you sign to these schools, they have you.
Yeah.
And it's just the grace of God that I got out of that contract and
Okay.
didn't have to go.
And
So
now
yeah,
look who
most
you are.
definitely do your research.
And now look who you are, cutting up on the track field and cutting up in the barber shop. No, right. So let's talk about okay, what is your major? What was your major
Um,
while you were in school?
when I first got to school, I wanted to be an accounting major.
Okay.
And that it didn't turn south quickly because I like to do accounting, but it turned to where I was just like, you know what, I just want to do a broad business administration.
Okay.
So now I've graduated with a bachelor's in business administration.
That's amazing. So now that you are also a barber, you, have you been able to go to cosmetology school to get your barber's license?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I was going to go to barber school right after I got done with college
Hmm.
because how the time schedule was going to go, I was going to be finishing my track season. I was going to be finishing school. I was going to go to barber school in the summer. Like I was supposed to actually enroll in the school like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I was going to do that in the summer. get my license before the spring semester comes this spring
Mhm.
semester, and then I was gonna enroll back in grad school so I could already have like a job while in grad school and still get my master's degree.
Okay. And so is college charter school still on the table? I know with COVID, everything's kind of topsy turvy right now. So is that still an option?
Yes, it's still an option. Like I definitely want to do it right and go to school and
Okay.
do that because it's weird because Arkansas is one of those states where you have to be licensed to work in the
Mhm.
shop. And
That's fair.
there's been times where I've worked in the shop and there's been times where like I've cut out of the house.
Okay.
And throughout this 4 years of me cutting hair, like I taught myself like a lot of stuff and I do online seminars with other
Okay.
barbers and I do a lot more than like people would really think. Like it's a lot.
You get into some of the other questions, but we definitely will talk about some of your collaborations and what are some of your future goals when it comes to barbering. So we already talked about your track um, career, and so have you had a chance to mentor any like freshman or sophomore track team members?
A mentor, I would say I want to say yes,
Okay,
but it's more of like instead of mentoring, it's more of like looking out
okay,
for for one of them because I just like how I said like I'm caring like I just have this caring personality like everybody around me that's younger I'm gonna always take care of them like I'm gonna tell them like the game like look you're gonna be here like you need to take this time wisely because it seems like just yesterday I was coming in as a freshman here and having to work and earn my stripes so I will say yes I have mentored and
okay.
yeah I will yes I've mentored.
And would you say that the practicing and the discipline the working out that you had to put into being a track star, has also helped you in other areas of your life?
Yes, I will. I will say that because being a track athlete, well, being a student athlete in general, you have to learn time management.
Okay.
And like I just say, like this past spring semester, where I was in season for like to like, well, from fall to like spring, I was in season from like December to like February, and I remember it was days where I was waking up at 6 o'clock, going to treatment, going to breakfast, going to class, eating lunch, going to practice, going to weights, going to study hall, and then still taking the time to cut hair,
Wow.
do homework, and spend time with the girlfriend that I had at the time. So
Okay, you tried to do all that.
it's just I want to be transparent as possible because I don't want to hide out any details.
And that's one thing I'm happy to do this interview so people can understand that you did have goals. You do have not did. You do have goals. You are motivated. You try to balance so many different things, and we want people to see the other side. They see you shining now, but there's a lot of work behind the scenes that went into who you are right now and where you are right now. And that's what I want people to take away from this is that you can do almost anything you set your mind to, but you gotta work at it. You have to work.
Most definitely.
All right. So let's talk about um, what inspired you though. As you're a student and you're trying to find a way to make money, you're trying to balance school, track, and all that. What led you to barbering, cutting hair?
Okay, so I would say like the first time I touched some clippers was with my uncle. He was working in Little Rock, and I was like 9 years old, and I was like, "Uncle, I want to cut my hair. Like, I
Okay.
just want to do it." And he, let me cut my hair, just like a little piece. So, like from then on, like just growing up in the barber shop, I always was around it. Like, and I used to always see barbers make money, and I used to always see barbers pull out a big wad of cash out their pocket, and I was just like, oh yeah, like I want to do this. And growing up in Little Rock, it's either you can choose the right way to do stuff or you can choose the wrong way to do stuff. And the wrong way may be the fast way, but the right way is gonna keep you there for a long time. And
I love that.
I just thank my uncle for showing me this. Like I thank him all the time, like uncle, thank you for showing me the game. Like, thank you. So bringing me on the A State. Um, well, in high school, I grew up still in the barbershop a lot because at the time I had dreads and waiting on my hair to get done. I would see like clients coming in and out the shop with barbers, and then they would just joke with me all the time because I was one of those people like in the movie Barbershop. You know how Cedric the Entertainer just sits in there all day.
Yeah.
Like I was that guy. Like
Okay.
in there all day, just just laughing, talking, enjoying barbershop talk. And they used to joke with me all the time, like, you gonna go to college and you gonna cut hair. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And I got here, and at the time in Jonesboro, it was like one or two good barbers, but
Okay.
nobody could ever get to them. And me and a lot of my friends from Little Rock, we came up here and we looking for a barber because in Little Rock is saturated with barbers, like
Wow.
a lot of good barbers. So we came here and it's like every week somebody was trying a new barber, and it just seems like we'll go to the calf Saturday and like somebody will be messed up. Somebody be like, man, this dude messed me up, yada yada yada.
Oh,
And it got to the point where it was my turn to go get a haircut. So I went to a guy in Jonesboro and I got my hair messed up. Like I had dreads at the time, and all I was getting was lines and tapers, and I tell you, my hair was messed up.
oh God.
And I was like, you know what? I'm about to start cutting hair. Like,
Okay.
and that's when I reached out to my uncle and some barbers at the old shop that I used to go to when I was in high school, and I was just like, I want to start. Like, I'm for real. And I remember every day I would take my laptop in class, and like I'd be paying attention to class, but I would have like a barber video in the corner of the laptop watching just how to do this and how to go about these steps, like what's good clippers to buy. It's just I became so invested so fast with
Wow.
barber and really developed a love for it.
So I want to insert another little nugget of inspiration. I'll get over a piece of advice. If you are interested in something, go all in learning that thing. Like I love to sew, I love to talk, I love to do makeup, and so I'm on YouTube watching different videos on how to do this, that, and whatever. So I say this to anybody out there: you have an interest in something and a skill in it, watch some videos of other people who have done it and who do it well. So study your craft. That's my piece of advice today. So thank you for sharing that and how you were diligent on learning how to do what you do. Um, it takes time, it takes skill, it takes practice. I mean, you're not going to always just be on point fresh out the gate. So,
Yeah.
all right. All right, so let's talk about, were there moments where you ever said like, okay, well, I like cutting hair, I like this, but I don't know if I want to do this full time. Like, did you ever want to quit and just do something else?
I definitely wanted to quit at some points because like it gets to the point where like barbers like this isn't really talked about a lot, but people think like we're robots. Like people think they could just hit us up whatever time and be like, "Hey, I need a haircut today. Like I need a haircut right now." And
No.
then, like that's before I got like really like before I got just organized. Like
Okay.
I was like just doing like Snapchat. People could Snapchat me, and I'd be like, "Okay, come through around this time," and then I would end up double booking and having people just sitting in here waiting. And it got to the point where like I was running into the issue of people not paying me, or I was
Mm,
running into the issue of people shorting me. And I was just like, you know what? Like, instead of doing a service for people, because there are people that's ungrateful, like
I can imagine.
ungrateful for a service. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I want to do products. Like, I want to develop a product to sell versus doing a service. So, And at the time, I was just like, you know what, I'm done with cutting hair. And I took like a 2, 3 week break of just not cutting hair. I was just like, I'm done with this. Like,
Okay. So you feel that people, the attitude of other people, kind of pushed you back a little bit. Like, okay, I might want to reconsider doing
right,
it. It's really sad in different industries where people really love what they do, but because of the customer, the consumer, like, you know what, y'all some ungrateful people. Like, do you not realize the work that goes into providing the service for you? And I'm not gonna get on this soapbox today, but um, yeah, I'm sorry you had to endure that. But so what? Even through that, though, you took a break. What made you decide? Okay, I'm not giving up on this. I'm getting back into this.
um, I I called my uncle and I was just like, Unc, like I'm done. Like I don't want to do this no more. It's just like I don't know what to do. Like I don't know what to do. And then at the time, I was having to pay like a booth rent.
Mm,
I was just like, I'm not cutting a lot of heads like that. And my booth rent is this much a week. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to do this. And he was like, nephew, how much is your booth rent a week? And I was like, it's like $90. He was like, $90? Like, it's people that are kill for booth rent like that. And I was just like, yeah, it's $90. But at the time, I was only cutting like $15 a head or $20 a head. And it was just like, I really can't make this $90 because I'm only cutting 10 heads a week. And it's just like,
ooh,
I'm
okay.
almost giving all my money away just to
Mm.
say I can cut in the shop. Or and then if I'm getting shorted by people, it's like that's even worse. So
Wait a minute. So you're already doing $15, and they're still shorting you on
it,
$15?
it's crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
Yes, it is really crazy.
All right, so you pull back from being in the shop. You start working from home, and did you feel? I guess okay. Let me ask. What did you feel? Like a sense of freedom, or a sense of just empowerment, or I don't know, fresh start.
I will say the fresh start that I had was like, okay, now I have this level of intimacy. That might not be the right word, but that's where I got to the caring part of it because like
Okay.
yes, I'm a barber, but I feel like I'm a counselor in a way because now that I'm one on one with my clients, we can talk about anything. Like we can talk about anything. And I learned this, and this is something I learned recently. Like the biggest smiles hide the greatest pains. And you
Yes.
would never know what somebody is going through. And I've had clients come and tell me some of the craziest things. And like I motivated them. Sometimes they motivate me when I'm going through something. So that was my biggest start. I would notice the impact that I had across the campus from going in these in my house at the time, just like what I can help them go through and where they can become today.
Wow. That's awesome. I've heard, I have a few other barber friends, and many of them will say that being a barber is like being a minister of sorts, because, and especially now when you're limited on how many people you can interact with, and having that one on one time with your customer, your client, you can talk about anything and they can pour out to you and you can pour into them, and they leave feeling better than they came. And we all know when you get your hair done, you feel better anyway. Well, then you get a word on top of that, you feel extra.
Yeah. And that's why I say like now, like book the experience because I don't want like any hair like you will forget about it just a regular haircut. Like you can
Mhm.
go to the barbershop and there's 10 barbers in there and 20 people in there and like a haircut is just a haircut. Like I make my haircut an experience. Like we're gonna talk game in here, we're gonna uplift in here, we're not gonna talk down on anybody. Like I'm gonna give you the best haircut that I can give to you and I'm gonna take care of you and we just gonna make this an experience.
Okay. But let me go back. Let me ask you this. As you were studying, all about barbering, and you were watching videos. Did you take time to read some history on how Black barbers got their start, what the time was like, what it was like during that time, and how the um, field of barbering or cosmetology has expanded when it comes to Black professionals? Have you had a chance to study all of that?
Not really study all of that, but I have taken like bits and pieces out of it to see like where it started and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I know a movie is an incredible source for that, but
Mhm.
watching the barbershop and the beauty shop movies actually led me to like see like, okay, so where did this come from? And growing up, I just used to just see like the barbershops and the beauty shops took so much impact on the Black community,
Yeah.
communities around it, because it's like now the barbershops is what's the word I'm looking for? It's non-discriminatory. So
Okay.
anybody can go in there now, and it's just like everybody is getting shaped in a certain way. So,
Okay.
and barbering is one of the oldest industries that's out. And for the Black community, I don't know the exact date, so I don't want to tell a lie and say like, "Oh yeah, I've been researching this," but I just know it's been around for a long time.
Okay. All right. So, looking at that, all those aspects and how Black barbers got the start, the adversity they faced, what impact does it have on you as you expand in your career? What type of how will you take what you've learned and apply it to your life as you expand your career?
Taking what I've learned.
Just looking at the adversity, because there was a documentary that I watched. It was about post Civil War Reconstruction and how Black barbers in particular, tried to get their start, but they faced a lot of pushback. And not just barbers, just any Black business owner. They faced a lot of discrimination, a lot of pushback, and some got pushed out. And so, looking at that, you know, how do you want to take that and apply it to your life, as you move forward in this career?
Okay, with the adversity, yeah, that's a pretty deep question. So, with the adversity of barbering that I faced, I faced, having to go to school and having to do track and having all of my time taken up with this stuff. That was one of the adversities I had to face. So, where I am now, where I'm in the summertime and I can cut kind of full time, is
Okay.
where I had to minimize that and only can cut 2-3 heads a day. So that was one bit of adversity I had to face.
Okay.
And then going through that, you just have to persevere because times will get bad and times will be good. But it's just like, what were you doing the bad times to
Okay.
get to the good times? So
Okay.
it's a lot that you go through with that. And you ask a little bit more. I'm gonna pull up these questions so I can read them as well. What
Sure.
number question was that?
That was number 14.
Okay. Look at how Black barbers started names. Okay, and another thing that Black barbers used to face a lot in the industry is that this is just with Black men in general. Like we hate on each other.
And I hate that.
We hate on each other, and it's like we want to fit in with society.
Mm,
All of us want to do one. Like we all think that it's one way to be successful, and it's not. And with barbering, what's so beautiful about the industry, there's no right way to cut hair. There's no right way to do services. There's no right way. Only thing that's a right way is sanitation. So
mm,
you can do it any kind of way you want to. So the adversity that you face is just about you persevering through that adversity. And you have to focus on what matters in that time of adversity. So whether it be, okay, it matters that I have to cut a minimum of 3 heads a day. And if I'm not getting that 3 heads a day, that's on me. Like that's my fault.
okay.
And how I do that, if I'm not cutting at least 3 heads a day, that means I need to step up my marketing.
Okay.
Or if I'm getting clients that's, kind of giving me a headache, well, okay, I need to go to Walmart and shake some hands and make some new clients.
Okay.
Just because word to mouth marketing will help you in the long run versus social media marketing. Not everyone has an Instagram, not everyone has Facebook. So going to meet people and shaking hands and talking to them and being able to reach out will help you in those times of adversity because they will always remember like, oh, my barber, I met him in Walmart one day and just now I've been getting my haircut from him for 2 years now. So
Okay. Alrighty. So let's talk about, we know that this career field has mainly been male dominated, but we are seeing a lot of more ladies pop on the scene. They can do their thing with some clippers. So tell me, why do you feel that representation matters when it comes to breaking down those gender barriers? Why are females important in this industry? Why are they needed?
I feel like females are important in this industry because like I said, the barbering has caring and counseling thing. Women have that natural nurturing energy. So having a female in the bar or a lady in the barbershop will just bring so much more to the table because it's like now when we're talking about how we're having issues with relationships and stuff, we don't just have male perspectives. We now have a female perspective to talk about that and shape us in that way. And I never look at gender when it comes to like a skill or
Okay.
an attribute. Like there are some ladies out there right now that's slaying with like slaying, and I watch them just as much as I watch the guys. And
Okay.
I will never hate on anybody if they're female or male or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's just you and the Clippers, and if you making your client satisfied, then you winning.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some mentors you've had along the way, people that have really kept you boosted. I know you talk about your uncle in Little Rock a lot. So, who are some other people that have been your supporters, your backbone, that really kept you going in hard times?
Um, Barbers that I will say, my barber Wallace,
Okay.
he was a big mentor to me. My stylist from when I had dreads, her name is Zebra. Her name
Okay.
is Amanda. She was a big mentor to me. Really, everybody that was in that shop, Emac, Eric, um, was a great mentor to me. Dion was a great mentor to me. My uncle, of course, and my family, of course. You know, they always had my back with cutting hair. Um, the relationships that I've been in, they have been great mentors or great motivators to me because you always have that best friend like, hey, like I'm not
Mhm.
doing good right now, but I wanna I wanna, get back on my feet and like just someone that could pick you up means a lot. So I've had a lot of people around and I can't name them all because we'll be on here for way longer, but
Alrighty. All right. So, let's talk about, if we were to poll your customers, how would they describe you?
um I feel like they would describe me as like, because I have some customers that leave reviews and they'll say like he don't miss, like one of the best behind the chair, professional,
Oh, wow.
patient. That's a hard question. It's like now I had to put words in the people's mouth, but I would definitely say consistent, patient, hardworking, and professional.
Okay.
That'd be
And so at this point, before we get into our last set of questions that are just for fun, so let's revisit those three words again. So looking at where you started with high school, track and field, trying to make a decision about what school to go to, trying to get out of one school to go to another school. So caring, hardworking, and perseverance. All right, so talked about how you care for your clients, how you put a lot of care into what you do. You study your craft and you care about the service you provide to your clients. You make sure to have top notch equipment and you practice sanitation. And we know I'm a licensed nail tech, so I know all about sanitation and what you're supposed to do. And because of the things I saw in the nail shops, and I'm not here to, back to rag on them, but from a personal perspective, from what I saw and experienced, I'm like, I'm going to do my own nails. And that's what motivated me to go to school to get my license. Like, I can do my own nails. I can pay myself, you know, and provide that service to other people, and provide quality service to other people. So I understand that aspect of sanitation. Hardworking. You had to maintain certain grade levels. One, okay, even though you were a walk on, you eventually got a scholarship. I'm sure you had to maintain a certain grade level. That took hard work. So, what was the GPA requirement to be on the track and field team, to remain, and then to get a scholarship?
The requirement, I believe it was a 2.5,
Okay.
but I wanted to, at the time I was a freshman, I wanted to be a part, I wanted to pledge, and I wanted to do all of this. So I was making sure, and I stayed around at 275. So
Okay.
I would say I held myself to a 275.
Okay.
I can't go no lower than 275.
Okay. So, were there ever times that you made above that you
Yeah,
were?
yeah, there was a time like my cumulative in my freshman year was a 3.36.
All right.
So
So that shows that either one, you didn't go to a lot of parties. There's no way unless you were just great like that, to party and run track and study and maintain a 3 point whatever GPA.
yeah, and I had to go to summer school and retake a couple classes just off of some other stuff, but yeah, it took a lot. It took a lot.
Anyone who's ever gone to college will tell you, yeah, I had to take a lot of repeat courses. So don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about that. All right. And perseverance through all of that, again, you had to almost self motivate at times, I'm sure, because there's not going to always be somebody in your corner. And being your age, and not to just harp on your age, I have a son, and I can't always hold his hand. I can't always be there to say, okay, get up, go to work, get up, go to school, get it. So you had to do some things on your own, motivate yourself to get up and keep going.
Yeah.
So, with your parents, so did they call and check on you on a regular? Say, okay, are you going to class? Are you eating well? Are you doing sleeping? Like, were your parents constantly keeping up with you?
I would say that, yeah, my mom was definitely doing that a lot, but that's just a motherly thing.
Hmm.
But it just got to the point to where, like, okay, mom, like, I can do it. Like, because I remember, like, when I first got here, my mom was calling me every day, like, are you up? Are you going to class? Are you doing this? Like, are you good? Like,
That's just how we are, and we're not going to apologize for that.
yeah,
When you look back over that time, you appreciate your mom checking in on you like that,
definitely.
because there's gonna be a time when she's gonna be living her life, and you're gonna be like, "Mama, where you at?" Don't worry about all that. Okay, so let's get into some kind of just for fun questions. Do you have a favorite clipper style or brand?
I do.
Okay,
And my favorite clipper brand is got to be Babyliss Pro.
okay. What is it about it that you like?
Babyliss Pro, they're just doing like it's like they're doing everything with their tool now. Like,
Okay,
and the tools may be a little bit on the pricing end, but it's always worth it. Like,
it's worth it.
it's
Okay.
always worth it.
Do you ever foresee, like, I don't know, clipper name styles? I know there's some of course, there's some that are wireless, all this, do you ever see clippers going digital? Like maybe some type of, you know, touch pad to adjust the level, like I don't know.
I honestly think that that can happen. I think that that can happen
Okay.
because the wireless has evolved to wireless charging, and wireless charging may turn to digital.
Okay.
I can see it happen.
Alrighty. Okay, so have you okay. What has been one of the weirdest haircuts that has been requested that you can visit?
One of the weirdest haircuts that I've had, I would say it's that new style, the like the shag where it's like cut all the way low here and like hair in the back and like rounded in the back. That's one. I've done like I don't know. It's a lot of haircuts that I've done. It's kind of weird. It's like the ones with the old school chops. Uh,
Seriously?
it's a lot of haircuts. It's kind of on the weird thing, but I like the weird cuts because it takes me out of my comfort zone and I learn something new. So
But have you ever turned down someone you're like, no, that's too much.
no, only time I normally turn people down is like if they want me to like color their hair, like
Mhm.
bleaching and stuff like that. Because as of right now, I really can't work with chemicals because
Okay.
it's a law. And as a what I consider myself now, I consider myself as a natural hair practitioner. So I can't work with chemicals. So that's the only thing that I will turn somebody down on.
Okay. And then so let's talk about you talked about some collaborations and let's talk about hair shows. You said you've done seminars and then continuing education. Um, what do you have coming up in those fields as far as hair shows, or would you even compete in a hair show?
I will compete in the hair show, and before Corona came and like ruined everything, I planned this summer to just go to every hair show. Like I wanted to go to BarberCon and believe it's in Houston. It was going to be in Houston this summer. Um, like competing in shows is like the one of the greatest things that you can do as a barber because you put your name out to so many areas, and this industry is like really crazy because you can go from being a barber that only has 600 followers, go and win a hair show, and you can have 60,000 followers.
Wow. Oh, wow. Now, there's a guy, I want to give a shout out to my friend Russell, the barber father Watkins. Do you know him?
Russell, is he down here?
He's in Little Rock.
Oh, I haven't heard of him.
So, yeah, he's competed in several shows. And definitely, if you get a chance, once we are able to travel, put the Bonner brothers on your list of
Yeah, that's another show that I want to talk
like that's I think that is just that's the show to go to, the event to go to. Like all the black stylists come out of everywhere,
Yeah,
everywhere to go to the Bonner Brothers, and there's all kind of products there and demonstrations. And one day, even though I'm a nail tech, one day I'm going to get a chance to go to one of these shows as
yeah.
well. All right, so what about continuing education? And also, do you see yourself in the education side, on the education side?
I see myself on the education side, but it's a little bit down the line. Like
Okay.
I can see myself doing like a online seminar like now, but like
Okay.
as far as like opening a school and like being on the floor teaching other barbers, aspiring barbers, like the tools and stuff. I
Mhm.
see that, but it's late. That's later on. Like
Yeah. Okay. Totally understand. And then, have you ever thought about product development or collaboration with some big brand? Have you ever been approached about product collaboration?
I've been approached about product collaboration,
Okay.
and mainly it's more of brand ambassadorship. Like
Okay.
and really what like gets me to the point to where it doesn't really go through like that is I'm not licensed.
Okay.
And that's just something big that's just in this industry. Like, okay, if you're not licensed, you really can't get a
Mhm.
big company to sponsor you. Like,
Yeah.
because I used to do a lot of like since Corona's been going on, I've been like in a lot of the Zoom. meetings that the barbers are having with the companies and stuff. And I'm like the type of guy, I'm in the chat box like, okay, so what do I need to do to get a part of the team? Or what do I need to do to just be a brand ambassador? And I've reached out and people have reached out to me as well.
Okay.
And the things that stop me will probably be like I'm not in the area.
Oh,
It was a barber supply that I was going to be a brand ambassador for, and I feel like I still can be the brand ambassador for, but it's all the way in Dallas, and I couldn't go to the brand ambassador meeting
okay.
in Dallas, so that's kind of how I am where I am now with that.
Okay.
I
Good.
reached out to a lot of companies, like all of the products that I use, I'll tag them. I'll reach out. Is there any way I can do it? Be a brand ambassador or just something? And some of them have hit me back, some of them haven't. And it's just, I just use it as one step, is one day at a time. One day I'll be to the point where everyone will hit me up. And
Your inbox gonna be full, honey. Yes. And so that goes back again to those words, hard work and perseverance. You are not giving up. You are pursuing what you believe in, what you're passionate about. And so I hope that all the young people that hear your story, take something away from this and say, okay, he did this. They may not be able to follow the exact path you followed, but hopefully they will be motivated to follow their own path and not give up and stay motivated and just keep going for whatever they believe in. Along this journey, do you journal or create vision boards or just write extensive notes about your goals and aspirations?
yes, I have. And recently I've just started writing a lot. Like I
Okay.
write almost like every day, or now it's slowing down. Like I'm writing like once a week now, but I write my goals out. Like when I was in the lockdown or we couldn't do no services, I was writing. Like I was
Okay.
like, okay, I
Okay.
need to do this to make this goal, and I need to. I I had a notepad. I think it's somewhere in here. Oh yeah, I had this notepad, and I wrote everything that I wanted to do in this notepad. So
Wow.
yeah, that is a big thing. When you can write it down and you can see it on paper, you can do it. Like,
I tell anybody there's power in writing. I'm a writer. And it's like your words come to life. They start manifesting in different ways in your life. Once you write it down, because you're writing, well, for me, I write with intention, I write with vision. And I'm like, okay, I put a prayer on that thing. I'm like, okay, this is going to come to pass. No, don't know when, don't know how, but I'm believing in it. And so I keep writing things down.
yeah.
All right. So, final thoughts. Any stories you would like to share? What was it like? Going back to your time on the track team. Any funny, inspirational, just any stories you would like to share? And any final thoughts?
So this, like, could I say like the whole story, like how I got to where I am now?
You could share what you like. We want people to. We want to wrap up the story and want people to really hear from you, beginning to end. Well, your story's not over, but beginning to now. Anything you would like to share?
Okay, so starting out, walking on to the track team, like growing up, I've always been told like you're too small, you're too slow, you're not fast enough. Like I've always been told that I'm not enough.
Mm,
So that was one thing that I had in my mind, like my fear is not being good enough. So freshman year coming in as a walk on, I was just hungry. I was just like, I got to get school paid for it. Like I can't have my mom trying to pay for my school, and I'm just in school, not really knowing what I want to do at the time.
okay.
So that's what made me pick up barbering, and I just fell in love with it. And just going forward, it got better and better each year. Like
Mm,
I started out with $5 haircuts and $10 haircuts.
okay.
Then next year I go to $15 haircuts, and then the next year I go to $20 haircuts, and then 20 goes to 25, and then 25 goes to 30, and it's just like this industry is something that you create your own salary. Like
Okay.
you create your own. So going from freshman year to sophomore year, it was kind of a change. And like when I was 19 years old, like it's funny because there's a Drake song because he says wide eyed and uneducated at 19.
Okay.
That's how I felt. Like I felt wide eyed, like curious for everything, but I was uneducated. And
Mm.
me being uneducated, that's when I ran into the problems of not being organized with my business and not having enough time to cut all of these heads and do homework. And that's when I fell into this area where my grades were low, where I
Mm.
wasn't performing as well on the track, where I got to the point where I was on academic probation, and
Ooh.
I hit this low point and I was just so low at the time. And then like through all of that, like I'm losing people out of my life, and it's a lot that I was having to deal with. And I just, like I said, I had to persevere through those hard times. And that's why I am right now, where I'm humble, and I'm humble enough that I know that I can lose all of this in the blink of an eye. But now I'm getting to that level of confidence now where I know that if I lose it, I can still get it back.
Yes.
And that's what I went through my sophomore year. And then going into junior year, that's when I got like a large scholarship increase. Like I wasn't on full ride at the time. I probably would sophomore year, I was probably on like 10%, 10%
Okay.
scholarship. And how scholarships work here at Arkansas State, if you get on 1% scholarship, your books will be paid for.
Okay.
And that was the big thing. So freshman year didn't have no books. I had to buy my own books out of
Ooh.
my pocket and stuff like that. So sophomore year, I actually got the 10%, and I wasn't performing as well. So I really didn't get as much, but I was always this hardworking guy and being a good guy.
Okay.
And I remember from freshman year to sophomore year, my coach, he told me like, I can't give you a scholarship for being a hardworking and a good guy.
Mm.
So you're gonna have to like make a name, or you're gonna have to score some points so that you can get a scholarship. And I remember when he told me that, it kind of broke me down for a little bit, because I was like, dang, like I come to practice every day, I work hard, but I'm not really doing anything in the meets.
Right.
So from then on, I was just like, I'll never get content with this. So every day I was working out, every day I was making sure I was doing something good for myself. And then brings me to junior year, where I get this 60% increase because I score points.
Right.
And junior year is where I found like, I wouldn't say I found myself, but I took a step up,
Okay.
like from sophomore year. Like this is when I was probably at $20 a head. That's when I was like, okay, I need to start creating the experience.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, okay, like I'm gonna buy a barber chair, I'm gonna buy studio lighting, I'm gonna buy the top notch clippers, I'm gonna do all of this. And at the time, I was starting from the ground up, like not really getting handouts like that, not really, doing all that. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna work right now. I'm gonna save up this amount of money, and I'm gonna buy a chair.
Okay.
And the small steps at a time, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I got a miniature studio. Like now it's, don't book your haircut with me, book your experience with me. And that's where I got the slogan of book your experience, because the whole time my slogan was cutting my way through college.
Okay.
That's what's on my shirt, like cutting my way through college.
Okay.
That was a big thing with me. So, and most people will see it as like a negative light of, okay, he's just gonna cut his way through college, so he's just gonna find a way to cheat. And no, it was cut my way through college, cutting these heads, because I was cutting hair to pay for school at one point.
Okay.
And to the point to where junior year happened, where I'm making the experience for people, and I'm kind of getting my name out there. I got to doing like the product thing, how you asked, where I reached out to people and it was this contest that I had to do with this barber. His name is OG Walker,
Okay.
and he has products. And the product that we were in the competition for was is a product called Red Alert. And I remember I had to do like a video where I explain how I use it and show when it shown like the parts like where I use it to implement in my haircuts. And it was like 100 people in this contest, and I made it to like top 10,
Oh
and
wow.
then ended up getting in top 10, and then I made it to top 5. Then this is where like me being in college kind of helped me win this competition because it came down to like the top 3, and we had to get people to go on his page and comment our names
Okay.
to win this competition. So I ended up winning the competition, and I ended up getting on his page where he has like 100,000 followers on his page. And it was just so big, and I was just like, like this is it. Like I'm gonna do this. And from then on, it got to the point to where I hit my slow point again, where I had
Mm-hmm.
to face this adversity. Junior year going into senior year, I had a successful year in track. I went to regionals in California. Didn't perform too well in regionals to go to nationals. So I came back, and in the summer I was staying to do summer school here so I can graduate at this time. And at the time I was just so down and so low.
Mm-hmm.
But those people that I was talking to, like my mom, my dad, my girlfriend at the time, I was like, look, like I'm not cutting as many heads this week or at all. Like I'm only cutting probably 2 heads to 10 heads a week and
Wow.
having to live off this in the summertime. And I was just like, that was like a year ago to like, I think no, junior year. Junior year, I seen. How did I stay? I'm trying to see if I stayed in Jonesboro in my junior to senior year.
Mm.
I did. Okay, yeah, that is my junior to senior year.
Okay.
Stayed in Jonesboro and I was cutting the hair, and I was not like that's when I was writing a lot. I was writing a lot. I was like, I feel broke. Like I can't really do nothing special for my significant other. I really can't, you
Mm-hmm.
know, go on dates like I want to. I can't do what I want to do. But I'm just sitting in here and I'm so sad. I feel like a failure. And I used to talk to my mom all the time, like, Mom, like I can't really do what I want to do because of my money situation. But I've never been the type of person to call my family and be like, hey, can I borrow some money for this? Like I've always been the type of person like I want to go work for it. Like,
Okay.
and me working for it, it got to the point where okay, now okay, I'm getting a steady flow of clients. I'm getting a steady flow of clients. And I still wasn't hitting the numbers that I wanted to hit, but it was enough to live with.
Okay.
So my senior year, I was kind of giving up on track. And I was talking to my friend. I was like, I think I want to transfer. Like, I don't know if I want to do the program here anymore. I don't know. And then I was talking to my grandmother, who she's a prayer warrior. She's gonna pray all the time. Like my granny calls me now, and she'll just I think I'm finna get off the phone and she just go into prayer. And I could be driving, I could be doing anything, and she'll just go into prayer, just praying for me. So she prayed for me one day. And I remember I told my friend, I said, look, I need a sign. Like I need a sign from God to make me stay here.
Okay.
And in that summer where I wasn't cutting heads like that, I wasn't doing anything, I got a full ride scholarship for
Look,
Arkansas State.
look at God.
And I was just like, I called my mom immediately. I'm like, Mom, like, I finally got a full ride. Like, we don't have to worry about paying for school now. And it was just so crazy because I was just like, this is what I've been wanting. I told myself, like, I'm not staying if I can't get a full ride. And like,
Wow.
I was willing to just throw it all away and go somewhere and try to walk on again. And yeah, and I got the full ride, and it took a lot of weight off me. And that like I'm not an emotional person, but like I
That,
almost want to cry
that
that time.
so that goes back to the three words: perseverance. You almost gave up, but you were like, okay, I don't want to give up because you had invested so much already into Arkansas State University and the track team and your classes, and you're almost at the finish line. And look at God showing up right there.
Yeah. And that time, like a year ago today, I would have never thought I'd be in this position now. It's where it's like I can do barbering full time, live where I want, live how I want to, and still have enough money to pay bills and still live life. So I just thank God, and I share that story because like even though I've been going through a lot, like this past 2 months, like the summer, really from like February to like just recently, like
Okay.
in a long time, because I was going through a depression stage in my life, like, and a lot of student athletes go through a depression, like because I was stuck in this area of like, okay, what am I going to do after college?
Okay.
Okay, am I going to go to grad school and risk being in debt again, or am I going to just say forget it and just take my chances with a bachelor's? And at the time, the season got canceled. My senior season got canceled.
Hmm.
My coach got fired. I was in 18 hours of classes, and my 18 hours of classes went from being in class to online.
Mhm.
So that was stressful. Then I was having to cut hair as well, still dealing with this depression of like, dang, I've been on this schedule I've been running track since I was 5 years old. I've been going to practice every day and doing all of this stuff that they tell me to do. And it's like now I don't have none of that. So I'm like lost. And I was just dealing with this. And I'm one of those type of people when I go through something, I don't really talk about it. I
Okay.
just let it sit inside of me, and it gets to a point where I just have my breaking point and I just snap. And that's why I said I learned like the biggest smiles hide the greatest pains, because anybody who knows me, like I'm always smiling, I'm always laughing, like I'm playful, like I want to have fun. But deep down inside, I was depressed and I was coming from a hard place. And no one really understood that when I was going through that but me. And I feel like I couldn't really tell a therapist like what I'm going through, and I couldn't really tell my mom because my mom is stressed out and be
She
thinking about it the whole time.
she would have time warped to Jonesboro from wherever she lived and come check on her baby.
Right. And just that time, like I was just so depressed, and I was just like, I gotta get out of here. Like I was staying in some apartments I really didn't like. Um it was just I felt so I wasn't pleased by myself. Like I wasn't like this not you, Amari. Like you gotta stop. And I was becoming a product of my environment. Like I was being content and saying like, oh yeah, I'm good right here. Like no. And then just recently, like starting in the month of June, like I was just going through like a lot. Like when I say my best friend got murdered at a wake, um, lost my relationship, um, my grandmother was sick. Like it was so much happening in the span of like 2 weeks. Then it was just like at the time I just moved into my new townhome by myself. Like it's like I finally hit the goals that I wanted to hit, that I was writing in that book about. Like I want to make this much money right now to where I can live how I want to live. And it's like I hit this peak where I feel like I hit this peak, and it's like I lost so much.
Hmm.
And I was an emotional wreck, and it got to the point where I just wanted to give up, like for like a whole like. I really can't believe I'm saying this on live, but I wanted to give up. Like when I say give up, I mean for real, give up. Like
Do you know how many people have had those thoughts? And hopefully, someone hears your story and say, okay, he didn't give up, and look where you are now.
right. So I just share that to say, like, never give up. Like I don't know if you know Nipsey Hussle. He passed, rest his soul. But I used to listen to Nipsey like way back when he first started, and he used to always say like the marathon continues. Like the only thing that's different about him is that he never quit. Like he went through every emotion, and through this journey that I've been taking, I went through every emotion. I went through the goods. I went through the. You're gonna go through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you just stick with it, stay down, just wait till you come up. You're gonna come up one day.
That's awesome. And you're for you to be your age and already have that level of wisdom. I can imagine where you're going to be when you hit your 30s and 40s and beyond. And hopefully, you get to motivate, inspire, and empower other young people, and especially young men. Our young men need more positive images like you in
Right,
their lives. And so I hope that other men gravitate towards you and you could be what they need in their life.
right. And that's why I love barbering so much because I have that opportunity every day. Like I can impact somebody. Like I can make somebody smile from just a haircut, and I can make them feel better about themselves from a conversation that we have throughout an hour or 45 minutes worth of time. So I love this. Like this is one thing I love to do.
All right. So everyone out there that's listening and watching, if you want this experience with Mr. Amari, the link to his booking site is on the screen. And go check out his Instagram page. You can see all of his fabulous haircuts. It is Mari, Mari, the barber on Instagram. Go and check out these fabulous cuts. Like I said, I mean, I know how to hold clippers, but doing all this shaping and blending, no, nothing will be blended if I cut your. It would just be like, ooh, you are absolutely amazing. You're cold with these clippers.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm sure your clients are happy. Like as a woman, I know what it feels like when I get my hair done, step out the beauty salon. I can only imagine what these guys feel like when they get a fresh, line and they cleaned up and feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
All right. So tell people how else they can reach you. Like, do you have any other social media page?
Yes, I have a Facebook page. I'm trying to get better with how I can do it on here, but like I have a Facebook page, Amari James. It's kind of hard to see, but Amari James slash Amari the Barber. It's linked with my Amari the Barber Instagram. So if you get on my Instagram, you can have access to all of this stuff.
Okay.
Um, I have a Twitter that I just post my just regular tweets. That my Twitter handle is Amari James. I think it's underscore Amari James,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So
Okay.
and my Facebook has my website that's linked down there below on there as well as my Instagram. So if people don't have Instagram, of course they'll have Facebook. And I have my phone number that I use through barbering too.
Okay.
I don't know if they want me to give the number over the live, but
Well, we want people to go to your Instagram, go to your Facebook. You can find the phone number there. Um,
yeah,
Reach out, click the link to book Mr. Amari. When I tell you, I mean, I don't know, I don't get my hair cut, but I can imagine it's an experience. If you just talk to some of his clients, and I know some of them personally, and I know they love you. So we don't want to drop names. We don't want to reveal anybody who does. We don't have their permission to say their name right now. So,
Right.
but I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. Like, even me, you've given me some new inspiration to not give up. Because as you mature in life, you're still going to hit some of those barriers. You're going to hit some brick walls, and you're going to feel like, okay, I've come this far. Is it really worth it? You're too far to turn around, but then, like, do you want to quit? What do you want to do? Go in another direction? So, you have inspired me in so many ways. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform as well.
Yeah, so
I want to do more interviews. So,
well, I would love to. Like, once you get through cosmetology school, barbering school, once you get through your master's program, we can catch up, and hopefully we can see your name engraved on some clippers or some other products out there. Maybe some beard oil, hair, something, pomade, whatever else men use, hair, skin, whatever.
definitely.
All right. And so, again, Mr. Amari's contact information is on the bottom. Please like, follow, subscribe to the Q Spot podcast. This interview will be available on the YouTube channel. I am so happy you gave me your time today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If anyone has any inquiries, please email me at theqspotqsj@gmail.com. If you have a product or service you would like highlighted, please reach out to me for sponsorship package options. And so, again, thank you, Mr. Amari. It's been so wonderful talking with you. And so I look forward to more, and I will be following you on all of your social media platforms.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone out there, for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day. Thank you for watching the Q Spot Podcast Video Edition. Don't forget to join the Q crew so you don't miss a beat. Follow, like, share, and subscribe to all of my social media platforms and the major podcast platforms. And as always, pink sugar kisses. Mwah.